law. What exactly is family law, and how is that working out in Nigeria?
Well, family law under the Nigerian context, just as the name implies, family, is everything that has to do about the family, the law guiding the family, marriage, dissolution, custody, everything that has to do with family.
How does this work in Nigeria? Is it different from what we see in the Western world?
Yes, it's different because, for instance, if you're talking in terms of the dissolution of marriage, there are some parts of the world that when you're talking about dissolution, you see people talking about sharing of properties and some other things, which is not applicable in Nigeria. And we also should know that in Nigeria, basically, we deal with two kinds of law. We have the Islamic family law, which is different from the English law. So most times when we're talking about family law, there's family law in the Islamic perspective, there's family law in the common law perspective, but both of them is a bit different from what we have in the Western world.
So basically, children have their own, protection. Spouses also have their own rights and, obligations as well under the family law. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, for children, for instance, we have the child right law that guides the children. And everyone knows that every child that is under 18 falls under children. Although we have some states that with their child right law, they're talking about 16 years, but the universal age is 18. So most times we still use the universal age. So they have their own protection to under the child right law. And for spouses, yes, initially under the common law, there's this argument when it comes to spouses, but the Violation Against Persons Prohibition Act has actually made it a bit clearer. Okay. Probably when we continue to talk about divorce and some other things, I would explain better.
Yeah, before we go to the issue of divorce and others, we can't take away disputes when it comes to the family setting. So when we try to resolve disputes, what does the law say?
Well, even before divorce, if you look at the Nigerian divorce petition, there's a certificate of reconciliation there. So even when we do divorce, it's not as if it has to be divorce. The law provides that we try to reconcile. It is when the differences are irreconcilable, that is when we end up doing the dissolution. Okay. So dispute resolution is compulsory in the family. And most, like FIDE for instance, most organizations that deal with family, we think about the dispute resolution first. But there are instances that no matter what you do, you find out that it cannot just be resolved. So you just take the next stage.
And the next stage is divorce.
Dissolution or separation. Some people will tell you they don't want outright divorce. They just want to be separated.
So how does that play out? How can one go about dissolution of marriage?
Okay. For marriage under the Act, that's the normal registry marriage that we're all familiar with. For marriage under the Act, if there are irreconcilable differences and we eventually want to go for dissolution, there's going to be a petition. And that's why I said even in the petition, there's a certificate of reconciliation, where as a lawyer, the law believes that you as a lawyer, you should have spoken to your client about reconciliation. It is when it's not working, then you forge ahead. So you file the normal petition, you state the reasons why you want the divorce. And even in the Matrimonial Causes Act, you can't just decide that you want to divorce. There are some reasons that if they are not in the Matrimonial Causes Act, your divorce might not fly. And there's another part of the Matrimonial Causes Act where people don't usually take cognizance of, and that's the 2-year rules. If you're married and you want to divorce, you have to be separated for 2 years before the court. It's just, personally to me, I believe it's just a way to see if there can still be reconciliation. Because if that 2-year rule is not there, I can imagine people get married today and by the next day just feel, oh, my husband did this, my wife did this, I'm not interested in it again. Probably if the 2-year rule was not there, probably would have had more cases of divorce. But cases of divorce in Nigeria is alarming. There's no court today at the High Court that will not have divorce under the court list, except if the judge says he or she does not want to handle divorce cases. But where there's no court you get to that you will not see divorce on the court list, and it's so alarming. So after the petition, you file, you serve, and the other party is bound to respond or not respond. Now, there's something we call terms of settlement, where both parties want the dissolution. We might not really go to court and start talking, this is what he did, this is what she did. both parties will just sit down and provide a term like, okay, this is what I want. If there are children, this is who gets the custody. This is who has access. This is the kind of access you have. This is what you do for maintenance. If there are not children, then it goes like that. If there are properties bought together in their names, that was when I was talking about property. In some Western world, when there's divorce, you see that the woman will tell you he has access to a certain percentage of the man's property.
Yeah.
It's not applicable in Nigeria. You can only have access to property in Nigeria if you have evidences that you both acquired the property yourself. But if that is nothing, there's nothing like you got married to a man, the guy has a house, plots of land, and when you want to divorce, you're not like, because you are his wife, you're entitled to 50% of his property. It's not applicable in the Nigerian law.